our next new movement is one of a whole series that they're all going to be quite different. So but we're really, again, going to build on everything we've learned before. So this movement is called working the pulley. And I'm going to show it to you just briefly, first of all, just so you get a picture of where we're going, which is I come up with just one hand. So I'm going onto my right foot, my left foot comes forward. So all of this is a forward stepping motion. And then I'm just going forward, and you see what my backhand is doing? It comes around and they start working with each other like this. Right? So that's the movement that we're going to do, and then it just closes like so. So let's just put the pieces of it together. So it's a forward stepping movement. First of all, you only have one hand going up, which is the side of the foot that's going to go forward. So in this case, your left hand, your left foot. So you step forward. This backhand, in this case the right hand, is just going to hang out here with your hand just a little bit upward facing. And it's going to be a position that it's going to do in a little bit. And you'll see this is its starting place. So this is just kind of like a starting connection this way. And then as you go forward, this hand, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it, this hand, of course, is pushing forward. But in this case, instead of it being like the push-pull where you turn in place, it's going to find one of those discs. So you're going to get that sense of turning with your fingers, stroking a fairly large disc that allows you to come back down with your forearm just above the waistline, somewhere about where if you dropped your arm nicely and bent at the elbow, you would come parallel to the floor. So there's just this sense of coming forward, and as you come down to that parallel with the floor, your disc, you leave the disc behind, you draw back, and think of the drawing back through your elbow. It'll really help you keep a sense of connectedness. So as your body comes back, you're drawing back through the elbow. And before you get all the way to the back of your foot, so you're about 2/3 of the way through, you start to turn and make another disc. It's not going to be quite as well defined because of, it's kind of reaching behind you, but another disc behind you which brings you back close to your shoulder, and you go forward. And the idea of where your hand goes as you come back, I'll just go forward, down, around. You can see my elbow comes pretty close to the side of my body. How do I get my hand back like this? I turn at the waist. It's probably got one of the biggest twists at the waist of any of the Tai Chi movements. And my hand comes in behind so that by the time it comes back, I have a little bit of a shoulder restriction. So you may find that you can kind of come back and around quite close to your shoulder as you come back, for those of you who are a little more nimble in your body. But the idea is just to kind of come around that disc with your fingers, come back by your shoulder, and then you're going forward again, right? So that's the motion with one hand. Now what's happening with the second hand? Well, it's doing the back half of this motion as you go forward. So as I go forward with my left hand, my right hand goes into the back motion. And what that does as I go forward is you'll notice that now this motion, instead of it being just a straightforward motion and then coming back, as that back hand comes back, it actually starts to twist my body again. So by the time you've kind of got to the end, like the peak of the disc on both ways, you're kind of opened up across the front of your body. There's a real nice kind of opening that happens, and it's twisted your torso enough that you're not like turned right sideways. You want to kind of keep your head, it's loose. It's not going all the way so that you're turned sideways. And so you just kind of get this nice opening twist that happens. And then as you come back, and now that backhand is becoming the front hand, the same thing happens on the other side. Now there's an effect in your feet that happens differently because one foot is forward and the other foot is back. So let's go to the bottom part now and just catch this. So here I come, I'm going forward. As I'm coming forward and I get this twist, what's happening with my back foot is I'm going up onto the ball of my foot. It's like a regular forward stepping motion where your heel's lifting. And with the amount of opening here, I've actually got a little bit of a turning on the ball of my foot. So there's a little bit of an ease of movement that actually turns your back foot. And if I show this sideways, so that it goes with the body opening up. right? As you turn a little bit on the ball of the foot. So there's that kind of thing that happens on that side with the back foot. On the front foot, as I come back, it also is going to go with this opening, which is not going to be as big as the other side was because you've got this front foot constraint thing happening. But you'll notice that there's just a little bit of a tendency to want to turn on the heel this way, so your toe's going to turn out just a little bit. And then you come forward. So that's the foot action that happens, is it's a regular forward back going onto the heel lifting as you go forward, the toe lifting as you go back, except that as you open on both sides, there's going to be a little bit of that kind of twisting motion on the heel of the front foot and the ball of the foot on the back foot to kind of go with that opening motion. Okay, so let's give this a try. So you do this 9 times. So I'm going to settle in, and in this time when I come into my startup, this left hand's lifting up, the right hand is turning palm upward. Just relax at my side. And then forward we go. So around that disc in the front and around that disc in the back. Pulling back through your elbow. Same thing here. I'm going to go really slow so you can just kind of get all of those things coordinated. So it's a really good movement for your neck because you'll find there's so much movement through the rest of your spine that leaving your head to be somewhat free will slowly work on it. Drawing back through that elbow as you come down through the bottom part of it. Opening up at the ends. And I'll do it one more time. So we come back. Here we go forward one last time. Now, the closing, as your elbow comes back along the side here, it's got to catch up with this upper hand that's about to go forward. So the upper hand isn't going to go forward this time. It's going to hang out and kind of go into very slow motion. And as your elbow comes back, your toes come up and your foot comes back. And as it comes back beside you, your hand just comes around and does that back disc and then comes down to the waiting position. So it's a very kind of slow motion waiting for its friend to catch up to it that happens with the right hand as you come across with the left. Right, so let's try this now with the opposite side. So I'm turning, my left palm is now going open, my right hand's coming up, and forward we go. This is one of these movements that can really show the difference between left and right side flexibility. So you may find that there's slightly different places of engagement. But as long as you keep coming to the essential parts of this movement, which is to really find that disc and caress it with your fingers as you go around, so that's a nice big disc, and coming back through the elbow of that arm that's withdrawing, you'll find that you really start to get the feel of the movement coming high with the forward hand and low with the back hand. And then, of course, just reaching back to go around that disc behind you and coming around back forward again. One of the nice things about this movement is that because you've got one arm going backwards as you go forward, it's got another opportunity to really make sure that you're staying in your center. We'll do 2 more of these. So the movement always starts with going forward over that front leg. So here we come around the last time. Forward, and now we're going to go back. So this right hand is going to kind of hang out, left hand is going to hang out for a second, and you're going to come back with your right hand and around, and then now they come down together. I think the most important parts is that it's got three very distinctive things you want to watch for, aside from those secondary things about sort of the heel and the toe turning, that kind of stuff, which is that as you go forward, you want to really make sure you get that disc. It's probably the one place that I've noticed over the years I've been practicing and teaching this, is that we'll often kind of do like a little, kind of a little nothing, and really make sure that you're coming around so that as you come off the bottom of it, you're really drawing back parallel to yourself, and it really connects with that coming back through your elbow and really getting with that twist that's happening as you go back and start to go through the disc behind you, like that. And so really getting that sense of caressing with your hands is an essential part of that.